Oh, goodness me. I hope for my sake as well, to be honest with you, because, yeah, I would hate to announce she's smashed her lifetime best if she hasn't. Anyway, I'm sure our friends and family are trackside, not watching on Vinco, but those of you who are, welcome to final race of the evening. The men's 3,000 metres is ahead of us, 7.5 laps of the track. Boy, oh boy, have we got a lineup. Efrem Gidey of Ireland, 7:58 his lifetime best. Andy Hobdall working with him at that Hoka group, 27:40 over 10,000. Sickening. It really is the speed he can operate at. So I think we're going to see something well inside 8 minutes if he is on form here tonight. You can see him there actually just awfully relaxed. He goes in lane 1. Jack Goodwin, 13:35, lifetime best over 5,000 this year, out in Belgium. He's suffered from a little bit of illness, works full-time as a firefighter as well, so he's just bouncing back in this second half of this season. James Heneghan, sub 14 minutes for the first time at over in Paris. Sam Bramwell of Herne Hill, right knocking on the door, and you know, I tell you what, after Gidey, the rest of them, Goodwin, Heneghan, Bramwell, they're men who have never been sub 8 minutes before, so there's a lot of men who will look at that marker, they'll want to crack it here tonight. 63 seconds that front group will operate at, and just like in the races that have come before it, there'll be a second group right around 66 seconds a lap as well, and you can see fast, frantic, and well, look at Gidey there getting stuck on the inside a little bit. He's going to kind of be patient and maybe work his way up, but or he'll be fine there. So Jack Rowe, interestingly, went in that men's 1500A race, didn't quite go to plan, but we know he's in fine form. 13:04 5,000 meter runner, 7:38 on the weekend at the London Diamond League. He's going to pace these men out at 63 and reluctant to go with it this early on.
And Matt, look at the depth of this field. I'm looking down at one of the athletes who's about 30 seconds slower. That's Milan Campion. The gap between Campion and Gidey is about 30 seconds. But Milan Campion's a 3,000 metre Midland steeplechase champion. So it just shows how strong this field is, that we've got something to talk about for everyone in the field. But we're talking about regional champions right the way down the ranks of this field. But you're correct, Gidey, the firm favourite with his 7:58 he ran this season. Jack Goodwin there or thereabouts with his 8 minutes 02 this season, 8 minutes last year. James Heneghan, a name we've not heard much of this season, he's due to be there. He is there, I can see him now. He's an 8:02 runner on his day. First 3,000 metres of the season for him. What are you expecting to see?
Well, do you know what? He's got a 1,500 metre background, and it was interesting to see him step up to the 5,000 this year. One of the reasons I believe he did that, you know, he's a full-time doctor now. I think it's a little bit trickier to train for the 1,500 metres, to really get those intense sessions bang. You often need company. Your body needs to be primed. Everything's just that little bit, you know, done with a little bit more finesse, a little bit more edge to it. Whereas the 5,000, I think he looked at it and thought, you know what, that is an event I'm weak at. I need to get better at, but it's also an event that I could probably do alongside full-time work. I can get the mileage in, especially when you're running at sort of 14 minutes for 5,000. Don't make no mistake about it. When you start getting to Jack Rowe's level and you're running 13.0s, you can't do that alongside anything, mate. You're dialed in, you're locked in, and it becomes your life. It absorbs you. But, you know, when you're a sort of 14-minute 5,000 runner, we see time and time again in this country, guys make it work, whether at university or full-time work. They get the mileage in, they can do a little bit more tempo work, a little bit more threshold work, and they can execute a good 5,000. I think that was one of the reasons Heneghan moved to it. To answer your question, what am I expecting tonight? A fast close from him. He's got that 1,500 background. He's got great strength to his name. And you can see here, though, he's struggling to hang with these boys. They're moving on that front end. 2:37 through that first K. That's low 7:50 clocking for the rest of them. They're just inside 8 minutes.
This is shaping up to be somewhat similar to the previous race, Matt. We saw Jenny Nesbitt take it on with who eventually won, Georgie Grech. But this time, it's one man on his own, Efrem Gidey, and he's out in front of the lights. We said his best is 7:58. You think it's around 7:50. I think it's even a smidge quicker than that now, as they're right in front of the blue light. And Gidey is in a world of his own at the front. Can he hold on? We'll have to wait and see. Sam Bramwell is the athlete who's just been overtaken. He's now in third, but he's been second for a while. This is shaping up to be a really interesting race where Gidey is just going to have to time trial it. He's going to have to get his head down and just try and stay out front and just try and keep in the back of his mind what his goal is and keep reflecting back on that as he moves forward. The athlete in second, it says Max Hayden according to the number, but it doesn't look like him to me.
Jack
We'll have
Goodwin.
to await confirmation of that, but it is Gidey out front.
Gidey out front, yeah, no question marks there, and it looks like he was willing row on to just push that pace. Can you go ahead of those lights? And Rowe's doing that. Gidey just needs to respond now, but it's Goodwin and Bramwell who are working together. Bramwell, in fact, on this very track last year, ran a big PB, 14.25 over 5,000, but can he run a PB over 3,000 here today? He's consequently lowered his lifetime best over 5,000. 14.03 man now. That was the comeback 5,000. This is phenomenal from Rowe. He's taking him to taking Gidey to a mile there, through the mile in what, 4:12, something like that. So they're bang on pace. They're operating at 63s. It would make sense because they're on the lights. Goodwin and Bramwell in behind. They just need to hold fire there. Can they get close to 8 minutes? And the rest of the pack, unfortunately, they're out of shot. But can they operate in sort of 8-0 territory? How many can we get sub-8 in this 3,000? You could see them just working their way up. Ali Kinloch leading that group.
Ali Kinloch, an athlete who based himself in Loughborough. Part of the Moses training group up here. Fantastic group of athletes. George Beermore, who I've seen down there spectating, another athlete in that group. But that gap starting to open. Gidey now back to the green lights, perhaps starting to come into some difficulty. This is that difficult part of the race now, where he starts to head round and towards the latter end of the race. He just needs to really focus in on that target, focus in on the back of the pacemaker, and just start to almost reflect on all the hard work and all the training, all the mental pain, everything he's pushed through to get to this stage, and just needs to try and stay focused, stay alert, and get back in line with those pacemaking lights.
Dead right, he's slipping a little bit. Jack Rowe pulls aside, that's all he would have wanted to see. But, you know, there is always, 3,000 metre races. There's always a point you've got to gather yourself a little bit, because it's easy to go out hard in a 3,000 race, but there is a point where you just got to come off the gas a little bit because you need to finish fast. And, whether Gidey's going to rally again, we'll wait and see. But he's probably just mentally relaxing at this stage. 2 laps to run. He knows the race is virtually his. It's about managing that now. And look, can he run a lifetime best? Those lights, which are down on 7:52 pace, are just slipping away from him, but he knows the personal best is there. I want to take a look a little bit further back as well. I think Jack Goodwin was rallying hard to try and work inroads on Gidey at this stage. 700 metres to run.
Yeah, the Sharks behind can taste blood in the water, can't they? They can see the speed slowing, but they're almost too far down to really be able to close that gap, I should imagine. You mentioned Alasdair Kinloch, he's up into 3rd place now, but that gap seems to be around 70 metres, probably plus. Is it too far? Most likely. Gidey is still moving at a substantial speed, but you can see the wave light's nowhere in sight, so he has dropped off somewhat significantly from the pace he set earlier on, but it's very, very difficult being out front on your own. Don't underestimate that. Your leader, still Efrem Gidey.
Yeah, it is, and do you know what, actually, coming around that bend, I thought they were closer than they were, and not close at all. This man has dominated. He is miles out front at the moment. What's the bell split going to be here? Hits the bell, 6:55 there, Efrem Gidey, the Irishman. Believe it or not, he's just 23 years of old, 12th of those European Championships for over 10,000 metres in Rome. He had a cracking run at Highgate as well. Make no mistake about it, he's an endurance runner. He's had 2 or 3 very hard 10,000 metre races this season. He's just here really to sharpen the tools, run himself out over 7.5 laps of the track, working with Andy Hobdell alongside Rory Leonard, Ellis Cross, Scott Beattie, all those guys who are all here today as well, competing. Beattie and Cross running phenomenally well in the 1500. So Efrem Gidey, 7:29, 200 to run. Can he sneak 8 minutes? He's in personal best territory, Harrison, if he can hold it together. Jack Goodwin looked to be in 2nd place. Whether he remains there, he had a big pack forming behind him. Those boys are seriously going to rally over that final lap. But Gidey, no doubt about the winner, Harrison, coming home here at the Tooting, breaking records, BMC.
Just going to slip away from a personal best, but Gidey, he goes sub 8 minutes. He'll be happy with that, with the way that race was run. He was all on his own. It is Goodwin, I think, who takes 2nd. Didn't get a glimpse of the number, but it did look to be Jack Goodwin, Matt.
Maybe Max Hayden. Those two, they're both in the white vest, I think. So confusing, but yeah, I think is that Sam Mills coming across there as well. Great junior athlete, 8:21, really strong runner on the cross country. those European Junior Cross Country Championships in Brussels back in December. And here's a few men just rallying hard. Good to see them get across the line here today. So, yep, of course, live results on Athletic Live for confirmation of that men's A race. We'll try and bring you that shortly as well.
Okay, guys, last time. What an event we've had here, though, Matt. So many personal bests, some really, really good performances. But every time I'm on a Vinco stream, I always like to ask my co-commentator, what's been your performance of the day, Matt Seddon?
Put me on the spot. You know, I'm someone who just gets wrapped up in what I've just watched, and I'm like, whoa, what's just happened tonight? But it's got to go back to that. You know, I thought Katie Snowden was impressive in the women's 800. It's got to go back to Nick Griggs and his kick in that men's 1500. And the fact he's just 19 years of age, and how many times have we said his name over the last few years? And, you know, here's Gidey with an impressive run himself and really got after it. Good to see. We've seen that a lot tonight. Athletes, they've come into these races with intent. They've come here to challenge themselves, to test themselves. But I've got to give it to Griggsy, the Irishman, and just wish him a bright future and continuing on that trajectory.
Honourable mention for me for Georgie Grech. First time under 9 minutes is a fantastic achievement. And of course, the guy in the 3,000 metre B race who took 20 seconds off his personal best, Jacob Hurrell of Chelmsford. He's got to get a shout out too. 20 seconds is a huge margin over a 3,000 metres, so definitely one for the future to watch out for there.
Absolutely, as well, Sam Mills there just taking off the spikes. It does get to that point, 7.5 laps of the track. You get pretty battered and bruised out there, don't you? High impact for these men, especially in this day and age. We've all got a bit soft with the old super shoes, but strong running from him. Whether he got near that 8:20 lifetime best, that will be confirmed. I think he did. He rallied pretty hard, and with the race being won in 7:59, he wasn't a million miles off the lead there. So we'll look to summarise that men's results. But first, let's have a quick recap of the whole evening, Harrison, because it has absolutely flown by once again at the Tooting BEC BMC. Well, this was the highlight of that women's 800 metre A race. I mentioned Katie Snowden. Dominant performance. She really was, to be honest with you. She's the class of the field with a 3:56 lifetime best. But keep an eye on Shanahan closing fast, 2:24, and Mullingar as well coming through on the outside. Gutsy performance from her. We're kind of accustomed to seeing those. And Lila Belshaw right on the inside in the green. Nice lifetime best, bouncing back from that European under-18 title over 1,500 metres. And then, of course, it was the men's turn. And this man, Justin Davies, well, he's a man in form at the moment. He's dominated many of an 800 recently. He calls himself a 1,500 man, Harrison, but, you know, over the 2 laps, he's one of the best in the business right now, especially at this level. Look at this last 100. Cruising away from the British indoor champion, Jack Higgins there, the Tonbridge man. Adam Spencer off to Paris in the 1,500. Justin Davies making light work of him over 2 laps.
Tired-looking man at the finish line. No surprise when you've won the Tooting BEC BMC record breaker. Not an easy task to do, I can tell you that much. Lots of smiles at the finish line too. This is our women's 3,000 metre A race. We saw just, no, it's not, it's our women's 1,500 metre A race. My apologies there. Kate Axford was the athlete on the front. A smidge outside 4:10 with 4:10.06. Here's our final few metres. The challenge coming from behind by Taryn Rawlings. But Axford had enough to hold on quite comfortably by around 9 metres to take the win, as I say, in 4:10.06. And Matt, this was your performance of the day. Talk through this one.
Well, it really was, and I think for me it was one of the most competitive races of the day, and I think we've all, as fans of the sport, we've got to love that, haven't we? And, you know, here's the bell. Sean McGordy takes it upon himself. He's a stronger man in the field. He's the man with pedigree, but he is the man with the fastest season best over 1,500 as well, 3:33. But, well, got taken to it, didn't he, at this stage, Sam Tanner. And we thought we were going to get a repeat of 2023 where this man ran away with it, just edging Callum Elson out on that day, but it was his Puma teammate, Nick Griggs, the 19-year-old, who just swept by him and right through the line, hands aloft. For pretty much a lifetime best as well, there or thereabouts, and dragging the rest of the field to some very, very quick times. Joe Wigfield in the mix as well. And then, of course, it was the women's 3,000 metres. Jenny Nesbitt early running, and this was your race of the day, Harrison. Georgie Grech, and almost a polar opposite. That men's 1,500 competitive from gun to tape. This one, Georgie Grech stole a march and didn't look back.
Yeah, when she moved past Jenny Nesbitt, it looked dangerous. Here's that move. She just saw the pacemaker dropping out and thought, yep, my time is now. She moved to the front, got herself back up to the front of the wave lights, and by this point, she was in the home straight, overtaking back markers, looking confident. There's Nesbitt back. Such a comfortable performance, and it was my race of the day for her sub-9 clocking. It was an 8:57.61. Georgie Grech came through, crossing the line. First ever sub-9 minute run.
And there she is, hometown favourite as well. And that left it just to the final race of the day, which we've just witnessed, the men's 3,000. And, well, similar to Grech, it was a bit of a gun-to-tape victory for Efrem Gidey, but he did it the hard way, didn't he? He didn't hang about. It was on Jack Rowe's heels through that first 2,000 metres. It made for an awfully hard last 1,000 metres, but he held on there and broke 8 minutes nonetheless, and just outside his lifetime of 7:58, 27:40, 3,000 metre man. And there you go, those final few strides, making light work of that. So let's confirm these results in the men's 3,000 metres then. We know Gidey was 7:59. Andrew Fyfe then, he was the man. We mentioned it might be Goodwin and Hayden, and it was Andrew Fyfe, 8:06.60, cracking run from him. Callum Jones, 8:07, great run for him to come through, quite near his personal best. Jack O'Leary, Goodwin, Kinloch. Richard Slade there, 8:09, big personal best for him, the Chiltern man. Ex-Bath Uni student, Sam Bramwell as well. Herne Hill, 8:11. Cracking job, and that crowned out your top 10. So there we go then. This is what we can look forward to in the next few weeks. Of course, we've got that little thing called the Paris Olympic Games, but more importantly, National Athletics League Premiership, the final round there at Birmingham, back at Alexander Stadium. We've seen that host the English schools and those England Athletics Championships. World's going to host that National League final now as well. Next BMC then, we'll see you on the 10th of August. Scottish Athletics Age Group and Senior Championships on the 10th, 11th, 17th and 18th of August. And we'll finish off the season at the Watford Open Graded Grand Prix meeting on the 21st of August as well. It's been an absolute pleasure for everyone who's joined us. I've been joined alongside Harrison Main as well. But from us, it's good night, and we'll see you soon.
On your marks. Set.